Causes are going to pick you. You don't necessarily pick a cause. Something's going to grab you by the heart and say, do something about this. So listen to that, pay attention to that, don't lose that.
My name is Kristen Robinson. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Fidelity Charitable. Today, we continue our Spark Your Impact series, and we'll talk about how donors can identify effective charities. With me today, I have Michael Thatcher, and he is the CEO of Charity Navigator. Charity Navigator is a nonprofit that has helped donors for many years identify effective nonprofits, and most recently came out with a new rating system, which we'll learn more about. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you, Kristen. Delighted to be here.
Well, let's jump right into it. So as you know, one of the common questions both of us get in our organizations is, how do you select a charity to support?
The hardest problem is that there's so many choices. So we live in a world, at least in the United States, where there are 1.6 million nonprofits that you could possibly choose to support. And really, being overwhelmed with too many choices means you have to get very specific in your thinking. Mm-hmm. And I often think about it as, get clear on what speaks to your heart. What are the causes that really call to you? And then within that, get specific, even more specific. So let's say you care about education. Great. What about education? Is it education for preschool? Is it getting kids into college? What about it? And then make your gifts in that regard.
So let's switch gears and talk a little bit about rating systems. So as you know, rating systems permeate all of our day-to-day life, whether it is determining where you're going to eat, what you're going to buy. So how will a rating system help donors as we think about the future?
The beauty of a rating system is that it gives you some impartial data on what the different nonprofits are doing. Again, going back to the question of reducing your choices, it actually helps you differentiate between similar entities that are doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. And maybe something gets called out that looks more important to you, how they handle their finances, or how they actually articulate their effectiveness and the difference that they're making in the world. In our ratings, particularly with Encompass, we've moved towards much richer metrics that get beyond just the financials. And we're really working to shift the question from where did my donation go to what did my donation do? And I think that really leads to the spirit of thinking about donations as investments. And as investments, you're going to follow up on them.
I love that approach. And I love really looking at what their donations do. So let's switch gears and talk about Charity Navigator's Encompass rating system. Tell us how it works, what's different about it.
The Encompass rating system is seeking to provide a much more holistic view of nonprofit effectiveness and health. And so we've broken things up into 4 quadrants, or what we're calling beacons, to stay in our nautical methodology. And those beacons are finance and accountability, so similar to the star rating system. Impact and results, which is really looking at telling you how the effectiveness measure. Culture and community, which is more trying to tell you something about how the organization listens to its constituents, responds to that, how they're looking at elements of diversity, equity, and inclusion, their reputation. And then finally, leadership and adaptability. What is the strength of their leadership? And all of these different 4 elements, we believe, will help donors make more informed choices in finding good organizations.
That sounds very comprehensive, which is extremely exciting for all the reasons you mentioned previously. One of the things that we hear a lot from our donors is that they really want to understand the actual impact of a nonprofit and how the donation really changes people's lives. And that's really a tricky thing to figure out. So how does your team actually go about measuring direct impact?
What we've done with the initial launch of the Impact and Results Beacon and the Encompass system is that we're looking at impact as a cost per outcome. And so our working definition of impact is the change in mission-driven outcomes net of what would have happened in the absence of the program. And this is relative to the cost to achieve that change. So for example, if I don't perform cataract surgery, then there's probable blindness. Then I see the cataract surgery, that intervention eliminates the blindness. Then I look at the cost and I do that as a comparison to other benchmarks for similar organizations, and I'm able to come up with a cost per outcome measure in that case.
So in closing, I would love to get, what is your advice to our donors who do want to choose an effective charity? Do you have any tips to leave them with?
Causes are going to pick you. You don't necessarily pick a cause. Something's going to grab you by the heart and say, do something about this. So listen to that, pay attention to that, don't lose that. Next, be intentional. Use your head to refine that so it gets very specific into an area that you care about and to the exact need that you're trying to address. And then also, if you can shift the notion of giving to that of investing, if you think of your supporting of a cause or wanting to make a change in the world as an investment, you're going to go back and you're going to follow up and you're going to ask for information. You're going to want to see change. At the end of the day, it's about allowing your emotions to get activated, using your head to refine that, and then sticking around to see that the change actually happens.
Thank you, Michael. That is really great advice. And I want to thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Kristen. My pleasure.